Here are today's top stories. Malacanang respects the decision to file charges against former Customs Commissioner Nicanor Faldon over the smuggling of 6.4 billion pesos worth of shabu. Ambassador Renata Villa returns home amid a diplomatic spat between Kuwait and the Philippines over rescued OFWs. Kidnappers demand 5 million pesos in ransom for 2 police women abducted in Patikul, Sulu. And the PNP welcomes the surrender of barangay officials tagged in PDEA's narco list. Good day, I'm Pia Rosas Morato. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Malacanang said it will respect the recommendation of the Office of the Ombudsman to file criminal and administrative charges against former Bureau of Customs Commissioner Nicanor Faldon and other officials. More in the report from Maricor Zapata.
A special fact-finding committee from the Office of the Ombudsman has recommended the filing of charges against former Customs Commissioner Nicanor Faldon and other officials over the smuggled shabu worth 6.4 billion pesos that was seized in Valenzuela City last year. The panel has allegedly found sufficient evidence to charge Faldon for violation of the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act and the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act. Also included in the charges are Import Assessment Service Director Milot Maestro Campo, Risk Management Office Chief Laribert Hilario, Accounts Management Office Chief Mary Grace Texon Malabed, and Customs officials Joel Pinawin and Oliver Valiente for grave misconduct. The special investigating panel dropped former Davao City Vice Mayor Paulo Duterte and Manassas Carpio from the case. The two were tagged by Customs fixer Mark Taguba as allegedly involved in the smuggled shabu. Meanwhile, Faldon called the charges against him ridiculous. He says he was actually the one who chased down the smuggled drugs. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque says Faldon and his co-accused would have the chance to defend themselves in an upcoming preliminary investigation. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Maricor Zapata.
A labor organization on Wednesday lauded the honesty of President Rodrigo Duterte on the limitation of his power to totally stop contractualization. The Associated Labor Unions Trade Union Congress of the Philippines welcomed the order of the Chief Executive to certify as urgent the passage of the Security of Tenure Bill by Congress. Spokesperson Alan Tanhusay says they welcome Duterte's frank admission as to the limitation of his authority to issue an executive order against abusive contractualization. Tanhusay said he is hopeful that lawmakers will support and fight for the rights of the workers. Duterte signed the EO against illegal contractualization on Tuesday, Labor Day. For his part, Labor and Employment Secretary Silvestre Bello III thanked the President for fulfilling his commitment to end contractualization of Filipino workers. Ambassador Renata Villa is back home following the request of the Kuwait government to recall him after rescue operations of distressed Filipinos in the Arab state. The envoy arrived at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport on board Philippine Airlines Flight PR669 around 10:40 p.m. on Wednesday. The Department of Foreign Affairs has yet to announce its designated charge of affairs for the Philippine Embassy in Kuwait. On Wednesday last week, the DFA described the Kuwait government's decision to declare Villa as persona non grata as a deeply disturbing development. The Department of Justice has started the preliminary investigation on the graft case filed by lawyer Larry Gadon against 2 officials and the former information technology consultant of the Supreme Court. Charged with violation of the Government Procurement Act are Legal Technical Working Group Chair Maria Lourdes Oliveros, Court Attorney Michael Ocampo, and former IT consultant Helen Perez Macasaet. Gadon and the respondents were a no-show, while only Oliveros and Ocampo's legal counsel submitted their respective counter-affidavits. In his complaint, Gadon alleged that only 2 of the 8 contracts of service of Macasaet with the SC passed the Bids and Awards Committee. 6 others were renewed by Supreme Court Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno without the knowledge and approval of the Bids and Awards Committee. The lawyer also alleged that Makasite's compensation was beyond the ceiling set by the Department of Budget and Management. The hiring of Makasite is also among the list of violations allegedly committed by Sereno in the impeachment case against her. A study by the Ibon Foundation shows more Filipinos now have jobs. Based on the Ibon study, 41.8 million Filipinos have been employed as of January this year, compared to 39.3 million in the same month last year. Despite an increase in the number of underemployed and part-time workers, the employment rate went up by 94.7%. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque added that the unemployment rate went down to 5.3% in January 2018 from 6.6% last year. Roque says the Duterte administration is exerting efforts to resolve and strengthen the labor situation in the country. Still to come, Grab Philippines asks the LTFRB to allow more ride-sharing units to meet rising passengers' demand. Kidnappers demand 5 million pesos in ransom for 2 police women abducted in Patikul, Sulu. These and more when the PNA Newsroom continues. Grab Philippines is urging the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board to get more ride-sharing vehicles so they could serve more passengers. More in this report.
Ride-sharing company Grab Philippines is asking for a dialogue with the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board to increase the number of transportation network vehicles. Grab said the suspension of the 2 pesos per minute travel charged by the LTFRB has caused a shortage in the supply of vehicles, leading to longer waiting time or non-allocation of rides. The company said that it receives around 600,000 passenger booking requests per day, but only 35,000 vehicles are available to serve its riders. Only 53% of passengers are able to get a ride on their first booking attempt, but this goes down to as low as 37% on average during peak hours. To address the gap in the supply of TNVS units across the country, Grab Philippines head Brian Koo said they will need the collaboration of transport regulators and ride-hailing companies. In the meantime, Grab is advising its riders to utilize the Grab Share feature on its app to maximize the use of its available vehicles through sharing rides with other passengers. It will also review its incentive structure to enable its drivers to efficiently deliver services to the passengers. For its part, the LTFRB said it is open to a possible review of the supply cap it has imposed on TNVS units, as it has approved accreditations for new transportation network companies. The LTFRB has imposed a common supply cap of 65,000 TNVS units for the TNCs in Metro Manila. It has also approved the accreditation of Hype, Hirna, Golag, Auto, and MyCab as new TNCs. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Miguel Hill.
The National Food Authority has started the process of buying an additional 250,000 metric tons of rice under the open tender scheme. The NFA rescheduled the bidding for importers after it failed to get the winning bidder last April 27. In case of a winning bidder, the first shipment of 100,000 metric tons of 25% broken rice will arrive on May 31. An additional 100,000 metric tons will arrive on June 15, while 50,000 metric tons of 15% broken rice will be delivered on June 30. The NFA has designated drop-off points for large volumes of the imported rice. Interested suppliers may file documents for bidding at the NFA Central Office until May 21. The pre-bid conference will be held on May 8 at the National Meat Inspection Service in Quezon City. The deadline for submission of bids is on May 22. The San Carlos Police Station in Pangasinan is closely monitoring 14 candidates in the May 14 barangay elections who are included in the city's drug watch list. Officer-in-charge Police Superintendent Ferdinand De Asis said that the candidates are also incumbent officials in their respective barangays. De Asis confirmed that one of the candidates is included on the narco list released by the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency on Monday. He said all of the candidates here have signified their intent to undergo voluntary drug tests. Attorney Marino Salas, Provincial Election Supervisor of Pangasinan, said that despite being on the drug watch list, the candidates are still eligible to run in public office as the law only prohibits convicted individuals. The kidnappers of 2 police women in Patikul, Sulu are demanding 5 million pesos in ransom. PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde says the ransom is only for the police women and not for the 2 other civilians who were abducted with them. Armed men kidnapped the 2 police women on their way out of Camp Teodulfo Bautista Sunday afternoon. Investigators said the group was led by a certain Mujir Yada. Albayalde stressed that the PNP will not give in to the demands of the kidnappers. Negotiations with the kidnappers are still ongoing. 5 cooperatives have committed before the Department of Agriculture to provide assistance to farmers and fishermen affected by the closure of Boracay. The Agricultural Credit Policy Council has released 39 million pesos to cooperatives that function as credit conduits under the Production Loan Easy Access Program. The 5 cooperatives will provide loans with low interest rates and no collateral to Aklan's food-producing industries. These cooperatives have started processing the release of loans to qualified farmers and fisherfolk. About 1,000 beneficiaries will be the first to benefit from the loan program. Up next, the PNP welcomes the surrender of barangay officials tagged in PDEA's narco list. Private workers in Region 12 are expected to get a 16 to 18 peso wage increase. These and more when the PNA Newsroom returns.
Paalala ng Commission on Elections sa mga botante na pahalagahan ang pagboto.
Palawak ang papel na ginagampanan ng barangay.
Magandang araw po. Taga-health center po kami. Nandito po kami para magbakuna laban sa tikdas. Isa po ang inyong lugar na may naitalang mataas na kaso ng tikdas sa bansa.
Ang tigdas ay nakakahawang sakit na maaaring magdulot ng kamatayan.
Ligtas ba yan?
Ligtas ito at 3 dekada nang ginagamit.
Magkano?
Libre ito sa lahat ng health centers at ngayon po ay magbabahay-bahay kami para bakunahan ang mga batang 6 to 59 months old.
Nako, tamang-tama. Bakunahan niyo na po ang anak ko.
The Philippine National Police welcomes the surrender of barangay officials who are included in the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency's narco list. PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde says the personalities in question may either voluntarily face the authorities or cooperate with Oplan Tokhang. Barangay officials who are suspected users will be asked to undergo rehabilitation. Those suspected of being protectors of drug syndicates will face charges once there's enough evidence against them. Officials directly involved in the drug trade will be the subject of police operations. Albayalde says that before the PNP takes any action, a validation of the narco list from the PDEA must be acquired. The newly approved 16 to 18 peso wage increase for private workers in Region 12 or Soxcargan will take effect starting May 11. Under Wage Order number RB 1220, workers in the non-agricultural sector will receive an increase of 16 pesos in their daily pay, while those in agriculture, retail, and service establishments will get an additional 18 pesos. This sets the new minimum daily wage rate for non-agriculture workers to 311 pesos and those working in agriculture, retail, and service establishments to 290. Sisino Cano Department of Labor and Employment Region 12 director said they will launch a series of monitoring and inspections among local establishments and companies to ensure proper compliance to the wage order. Employers found violating the wage order and other regulations will be advised to make the necessary corrections, and those who remain non-compliant will face sanctions. However, Cano said employers affected by calamities may seek exemptions from implementing the wage order for up to 1 year. Global Port handed Bong Ramos a loss in his PBA comeback with Blackwater in the Commissioner's Cup Wednesday night. The Batang pair outscored the Elite 35-17 in the third period to take a 97-81 advantage entering the fourth quarter. Blackwater, however, put up a fight in the final frame only for Global Port to score huge baskets to help seal the win. The final score was 117-106. Sean Anthony flirted with a triple-double, tallying 29 points, 13 rebounds, and 8 assists with 3 steals. Malcolm White bucked foul trouble and added 28 points, 8 rebounds, 1 block, and 1 steal. Stanley Pringle chipped in 26 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, and 1 steal. Jared Famous dropped 41 points and 22 rebounds with 1 assist and 2 steals, but he also had 8 ball turnovers as Blackwater dropped to 0 wins and 4 losses. A new sport is emerging as Filipinos are now seriously engaged in a unique hobby which was considered a childhood pastime. Slingshot or catapult shooting is now garnering worldwide attention with players of all ages. Here's a report.
What many consider as a mere toy or summer preoccupation is gradually becoming a mainstream sport, and enthusiasts come from all walks of life and varying age brackets. The slingshot, tirador or saltik in the vernacular, is the passion of the Philippine Slingshot Federation, which recently held its third slingshot tournament at the Roman Garden of the Marikina River Park in Marikina City. Since it was formed in 2017, the PSF has held its first tournament in Alabang, Muntinlupa, and its second tournament in Sampaloc, Manila. Raymond Arco, one of the founding members of the PSF and leader of Team Riverbanks in Marikina City, says one of the reasons the PSF was organized was to earn international recognition. Arco adds that since the sport is becoming popular in China and the United Kingdom, the PSF is doing its best to be able to achieve world-class status by following international rules and safety guidelines. The elimination round was a man-against-man shoot-off, where 2 identical sets of targets are set up. The shooter who drops all or the highest scoring targets wins. In the finals, the shooter takes on all 20 targets with only 20 projectiles or shots, with the option of taking down only the highest scoring targets. After the elimination round, only 3 players were left standing: Dr. Tim Santos, Jeff Edilior, and Erds Patawaran. Patawaran bowed to Edilior, who shot consistently, dropping 6 consecutive targets during the man-against-man. Dr. Santos, also of Team Riverbanks, managed to hit higher scoring targets and took the champion spot. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
Let's now check out the weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country. Let's take another look at today's top stories. Malacanang respects the decision to file charges against former Customs Commissioner Nicanor Faldon over the smuggling of 6.4 billion pesos worth of shabu. Ambassador Renato Villa returns home and the diplomatic spat between Kuwait and the Philippines over rescued OFWs. Kidnappers demand 5 million pesos in ransom for 2 police women abducted in Patikul, Sulu. And the PNP welcomes the surrender of barangay officials tagged in PDEA's narco list. Thank you for watching another edition of the PNA Newsroom. To check out these and other stories, visit the PNA website or follow the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter. For more stories about the government and how it serves the Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. And that's your daily dose of the latest news and information that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom. I'm Pia Rosas Marato. Good day.